Good afternoon, folks. Tommy Maduro coming at you from PNC Cigar Lounge in Cheyenne, Wyoming. And this is the next installment of Rants from the Lounge. Yeah, I know. It's been a while since I've done one of these. And honestly, I can't even give you the excuse that I've been busy. I just haven't gotten around to it, honestly. But today, I'd like to talk about government funding. So I'm laying in bed today, or this morning, and I got to thinking about charities and how charities allow you to earmark, whatever funds for, whatever programs they happen to be offering. So, clean water, infrastructure projects over in Africa, what have you, animals, you name it, you can do it, right? So I got to thinking about, well, what's the government? But basically a big compulsory charity, okay? They don't generate revenue, so they're the non-profit. In fact, they're the least profitable entity, in the nation, because look at the deficits they're running, right? So then, my question was, okay, if we have to pay taxes as the electorate, why can't we on our tax forms say, look, I want to earmark 1% to education, I want to earmark 10% to defense, I want to earmark, 0.25% to congressional salaries, executive salaries, what have you, right? I mean, that only makes sense. We, as a tax-paying populace, should be able to say where we want our money to go. I think it's a brilliant idea, personally, but then I am a, egomaniac. So here it is, folks. If we're allowed to decide where the hell our money goes, then how soon do you think that we, as a populace, would have basically the financial house in order? No more deficit spending, and let's get rid of these superfluous departments, right? Homeland Security, honestly, do we really need that? Okay, ATF, I mean, they're taking all the fun out of out of our lives, right? If we can't drink, smoke, and blow shit up, then, what's the point in living, personally? But that's just me. But seriously, though, there's a whole slew of programs, of, regulation, of things like that goes on, that gets funded, that the majority of the population probably doesn't care about, doesn't want anything. And that goes back to another thought I had. Sorry, this is, kind of a non sequitur here. But there's been complaints that this Congress is the least effective Congress, to date. They pass the least amount of bills. Well, I gotta tell you, folks, if Congress didn't pass a bill today, that's one freedom I didn't lose. And personally, I'm kind of excited about that. Not a big fan of losing freedoms in general. Getting back to my original point. There's a ton of programs, there's a ton of departments, there's all this extraneous crap in the government that we really don't need. And if the population was allowed to sit down, and granted, this is asking a lot of the general populace to do their due diligence, to educate themselves. Of course, that goes back to, a whole other topic, and I don't really want to revisit that. But anyways, if the majority, if us as tax-paying individuals had the opportunity to say, FDA, we're going to cut your funding. EPA, we're going to cut your funding. NASA, guess what? We're going to increase your funding because it's cool as hell that you landed a car on Mars, right? So, defense is always important. Education, yeah, those jackbooted thugs in Homeland Security, they can go pound sand, right? I mean, what do we need them? Why are we funding this crap? We should have the power of the purse. Something else I guarantee, those salaries of, the executives and the executive branch and all their cronies and the legislators, I sure as hell don't want to fund their lavish lifestyles. So, you can bet they'd be taking a pay cut. So, just something to think about. Oh, and before I start getting comments, but Tommy, taxes are unconstitutional. You know what? Go out, do some research. Check out the 16th Amendment. It's there, folks. It's constitutional. I don't want to hear it. So, just food for thought, something to think about. You know what? We should be able to earmark our own tax dollars on where we want it to go. Not have those yahoos out in the East Coast that has no freaking clue what goes on anywhere else in the nation with the power of the purse. Because, in the end, we should have the power to decide. So, my thought for the day, my rant for the day. Anyways, this is Tommy Maduro signing off. Y'all have a good afternoon.